I released this video about a month ago where I was going over the crazy study that only showed 3% of people over age 60 have $1 million. That blew my mind. That does not come close to the stats that are going to shock you in today's video. Now, I want to highlight a comment first because I appreciate when you guys do leave your comments as this helps me make new videos. So Richard77231 here says, at least this video is using the federal survey. So many finance videos and articles reference something like Fidelity's average and median account balance stats, which don't take into account multiple accounts per household, a 401k for each spouse, individual with multiple 401ks, and or IRAs, which essentially neuter the value of those stats. And he's exactly right. I'm pulling this directly from Fidelity, and you can see they're showing here the average net worth and median net worth by age. So if we're looking at median net worth, most of you who are watching this video, you're in these categories here. So 247,000, 364,000. Most of you are way beyond that. And so that's the risk with this Fidelity study. What we're going to be looking at today are actual studies from the Federal Reserve. And you can see here what we're going to be discussing are total expenditures by occupation for those who have retired. So we're going to go much deeper, and this is a source from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and you can see the observation we're gathering is about $60,000 a year. That's what we're looking at, total average annual expenditure, but we're going to be going deeper today. So that's just one statistic. Most people are spending about $60,000 a year in retirement. It's not saying that's what you should spend. In fact, our clients spend much more than that. I would say our average client is spending in the range of anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 a month. Now, we have clients that spend less than that and clients that spend way more than that. Nobody's right or wrong, but make sure you're planning for your own retirement. Hopefully, the stats today will show you something that makes you think a little differently when it comes to your plan. My name is Ari Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner, host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and Chief Growth Officer here at Root Financial. The first stat I want to show is around net worth. And so Kiplinger puts together this article, Average Net Worth by Age, and how you measure up. Now, what's surprising here is the median net worth versus the average net worth. So a quick math lesson for all of us for a quick reminder. The median, if you remember going back to school, is if you have a 1 over here and a 10 over here, you cross out both until you get to the median. Average, that's where you're taking all of it, dividing by the number of factors, and getting an average. When we're looking at the median net worth here, this is from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances. The median net worth here, we're looking at, let's say, age 55 to 64. We're looking at a median net worth of $364,000 and an average of $1.5 million. That's a big difference. So what too many people do is they go, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near that average. I'm nowhere near that median. Where the heck do I stand for my retirement? So I'm going to give a quick example here so that you can just stop worrying about this. I view that as part of my job is yes, to advise, but also to advise you on what not to think about, the head trash to get out of your head. And so the thing I'm going to say here, and I'm allowed to talk about my parents very transparently. My mom says to often use them as examples because they've done things really well and things they wish they did a little differently. But my mom, she is house rich, cash poor. They have a beautiful home worth lots of money, but they don't want to sell it. So now they're in a position where, okay, they have a significant net worth on paper, but that's not going to create income for them. Now, my parents are lucky that they love what they do, but they're in a position where if it was up to them, maybe they're working a little less, or maybe they're spending a little bit more. So I bring this up because I don't want you to be house rich, cash poor. And I want to make sure you're also not qualified rich, cash poor. That's a phrase I made up where there are so many people that have most of their money in a 401k. So if they want to retire early, it's difficult because they're going to have to pay crazy taxes and penalties versus if they had a superhero account, which is what I call a brokerage account, they'd have the ability to withdraw and pay way less in taxes because the majority of what they're taking out is principal. And then the growth you get to pay capital gains taxes on, not ordinary income. So I'm bringing all of this up because the stat I want you to think about has nothing to do with what you're seeing on the screen. I want you to think about how much you want in retirement. So pretend you're like, hey, I'm just naturally not a big spender. If I can spend $5,000 a month, I would live a very happy life. Well, $5,000 a month, that's $60,000 a year after taxes, adjusted for inflation. What I would recommend you do is ask yourself, what income sources do I have in retirement? Am I going to be living off of a 401k, a brokerage account, rental income, Social Security, and do you have enough income to support that? You can use these basic rules like the 4% rule or the guardrails approach, which says you can take between 5 and 5.5% of your portfolio, and ask yourself, would that allow me to live my ideal retirement? There's other people that go, look, without $10,000 a month, I'm really not going to be living comfortably. Without $15,000 a month, I'm not going to live comfortably. Okay, well then make sure you have enough income to support that. And if that means you have to work another year or 5 years so that you can actually do that, you might ask yourself, you know what, that would make me more happy. Like I would enjoy my retirement more if I worked a few more years so I could retire and spend what I really wanted. And there's others of you that think that person's nuts. And you're like, whoa, $5,000 a month, that's plenty. If that means I don't have to work or commute or deal with my boss anymore, that's a trade-off I'm willing to take. So these averages and medians, they're helpful because they initiate conversations. They're a good starting spot. It's not what you should use to dictate, can I retire or not? We're now looking at the average income before taxes for those who have retired. So you can see the average income is this number here, $58,351. Note the rise here from 2021 to 2023, which I know this is a little outdated. We're looking at a 13% increase. That's accounting for inflation, by the way. So people are spending more, even with inflation. I hope another big takeaway here, you can see here, over decades, people are going to continue to spend more and more and more and more. And the big reason for that is we have more people retiring today than ever before. Many people are calling this the great retirement boom. So you can see here, retirements are varying. So we're looking at how many people are retiring in any given year. And we can see this gigantic jump here. And you can see the start of COVID is this exact line that I'm going across here. So you can see this is when a ton of people are retiring. Now that's due to layoffs. That's due to realizing, hey, it turns out life's very different. And I don't know how long I'm going to have my health and my energy. So I want to pursue what I care about most. And maybe that means I'm spending a little less than I thought, but it's just too hard to get another job. So I'm going to make this work. And now you can see it's starting to normalize. But this big jump, well, that's the reason that so many more people are spending more. These are retirees that have more time to spend money who otherwise were working. Another study from Alliance here shows the daily figure of 11,200 that are turning 65 is up from an average of about 10,000 a day over the past decade. That's a 12% gain per year. Many people are also calling for Social Security changes to be the reason this is happening. You can see about 5.6 million Americans are newly awarded Social Security each year, and a 12% annual rise in people turning 65. So that educated guess is telling you about 6.3 million Americans a year will retire over the next 4 years. Now, does that mean it's going to happen? No. Now, with way more people retiring, there's two ways to look at it. There's people who are going to say, wow, they have way more time on their hands. They're going to spend more money. There's other people that go, well, they're making way less money. In fact, potentially zero if they are truly retired and not working part-time. So that's less consumerism. The last stat that I want to show you today, this comes from Pew Research, and there's awesome research here on retirement planning. And they talk about what age do people around the world think is the best to reach major life milestones. Don't love these stats because, to be honest, it's different for everyone. But you can see on this little cute chart here, they're saying the average is 57.9. That's what most people are saying. When's the optimal time to have a first child? 26. Buy a home? 30. Retire? 58. So if you don't mind sharing below, when do you plan on retiring? When did you first buy a home? When did you first have a child? And did you feel that worked well for you? Do you feel you wish you did it earlier? Do you feel you wish you did it later? When are you planning to retire and why? And if we can all share these stats with each other, we might be able to really help all of our retirements out. Now, that was the world's responses. America's responses were the following. They said getting married at 26 and a half, having a child at 27, buying a home at 28, and retiring around 62. So everyone is different, but these are stats that help all of us understand where we fall compared to each other. Once again, no right or wrong here, but I find all of this interesting. If you don't mind sharing what your plan is below, when you want to retire, when you first had a baby, when you first moved or bought a home, that helps us all understand, okay, great, this is what I wish I would do differently. And maybe you'll learn something too. If you resonate with this video, please like this and comment below what resonated most, and I'll see you guys next time.